McKenna's back hit the wall before she even realized she was moving. The hallway stretched too long, too quiet, like the whole penthouse was holding its breath. Adrian Vale stood inches away. His hand hovered near her collarbone, not touching, just there, trembling, like he was stopping himself on purpose. His voice came out low, rough. "Say you understand." McKenna's eyes flicked to the corner. A tiny red light blinked once from a camera mounted high on the wall. "Hi, viewers. Kindly tell us where you're watching from and what time it is. Warm welcome to the family. Enjoy the story." She gripped her apron like it could protect her. "I'm just the maid." Adrian stepped closer anyway. The air between them felt thick, heavy. "You walked into my house," he said, "and you didn't look afraid of me." "I didn't know who you were." His jaw tightened. "That's the problem." Then he leaned in. Not all the way. Just enough to make her heart slam against her ribs. And he said it. "I will make you mine tonight." McKenna's blood turned hot and cold at the same time. Behind them, the elevator slid open with a soft chime. A man stumbled out. Pale face. Wide eyes. He held a tablet like it was about to explode in his hands. "Sir," he choked out, barely breathing. "The lockbox." It opened. Adrian froze. His whole body went stiff. "No," he whispered. "That's not possible." McKenna's stomach dropped. "What lockbox?" The man kept talking, voice shaking. And it played the recording. Adrian turned to look at her. His eyes weren't angry anymore. They were terrified. "What recording?" McKenna asked again, louder this time. Adrian's voice cracked when he answered. "The one I made," he said slowly, "for the day I became a monster." McKenna's vision blurred for a second. Her temple throbbed. Suddenly, she wasn't standing in the hallway anymore. She was somewhere else, somewhere hot, smoke everywhere, orange light flickering, a voice in her ear saying, "Breathe, stay with me." She blinked hard. The hallway snapped back into focus. Adrian was staring at her like he'd seen a ghost. "McKenna," he whispered. She swallowed. "How do you know my name?" He didn't answer. The man with the tablet stepped forward. "Sir, we need to go. Now." But Adrian didn't move. He just kept staring at McKenna, like she was the answer to a question he'd been asking himself for years. And something deep inside her, something she didn't understand, answered back, like it remembered. The red light on the camera blinked again, and the elevator doors started to close. 3 hours earlier, McKenna stood outside Vale Tower with one suitcase and a heart that wouldn't stop racing. The building didn't look real. It looked like a world that didn't have bills, or hunger, or apologies you couldn't take back. She gripped the handle of her suitcase tighter. Her phone buzzed in her pocket. She pulled it out. Latuk's number. The message made her skin go cold. "Don't look up too long. Walk in. Get hired. Don't leave until you hear the words." McKenna stared at the screen. Her fingers felt numb. She typed back fast. "What words?" No reply. Just silence. She should have turned around right then. Should have listened to the warning running through her bones. But she didn't have that kind of choice anymore. 2 weeks ago, she'd been sleeping on someone else's couch, smiling too much so they wouldn't kick her out, eating leftovers they didn't want, pretending she was fine. Then the agency called. Live-in Maid, high pay, immediate start. They said the name like it was nothing. Adrian Vale. McKenna told herself she didn't care who he was. She told herself she just needed the job. But now, standing in front of this tower made of glass and steel, she felt something else. Fear. She took a breath and walked through the revolving door. Inside, the lobby was too clean, too quiet, like even the air cost money. The receptionist looked up fast, too fast. Her smile didn't reach her eyes. "Oh," she said. "Yes, you're expected." McKenna's stomach twisted. "Expected?" The woman nodded. "Mr. Vale is waiting." McKenna hadn't even given her name yet. She opened her mouth to ask how the woman knew, but the receptionist was already pointing toward the elevators. "Top floor," she said. "Private access." McKenna walked toward the elevator, legs shaking. She pressed the button. But before her finger even touched it, the doors slid open, like they'd been waiting for her. McKenna stepped inside. The doors closed. Soft music played, the kind that was supposed to calm you down but only made you more nervous. Her phone buzzed again. She looked down. Unknown number. "Remember, don't leave until you hear the words." McKenna's throat went dry. She typed back, "Who are you?" Nothing. The elevator climbed higher and higher. Her reflection stared back at her from the polished steel walls. Dark skin, tired eyes. Cheap clothes she'd tried to make look professional. She didn't belong here. She knew that. But something about this place felt wrong in a different way. Not just rich. Not just cold. Familiar. Like she'd been here before. The elevator slowed. A soft chime. The doors opened. A woman stood waiting. Gray uniform. Sharp eyes. Hair pulled back so tight it looked painful. "I'm Celeste," she said. No smile. No warmth. "Follow me." McKenna stepped out. The hallway smelled like lemon polish and money. Her footsteps made no sound on the carpet. That made her uneasy. Celeste handed her a thin folder without stopping. "Rules. Memorize them." McKenna opened it. Her eyes scanned the list. "Don't speak unless spoken to. Don't enter the West Wing. Don't ask about guests. Don't mention what you see." McKenna looked up. "Is this a house or a prison?" Celeste didn't smile. "It's a house where privacy keeps people alive." McKenna swallowed. They turned a corner. Through a glass corridor, McKenna saw someone tall, on the phone, posture like steel. He turned slightly, just enough, and McKenna's head exploded with heat, smoke, screaming, voice whispering, "Breathe." She blinked hard. Celeste was staring at her. "You okay?" McKenna forced a smile. "Yes." But her hands were already shaking, and somewhere deep inside she felt it. She wasn't here by accident. Celeste walked fast. Too fast. McKenna struggled to keep up, the folder still open in her hands. "You start today," Celeste said without looking back. McKenna frowned. "I thought tomorrow." "Schedules change." That was all she said. No explanation. No apology. They turned another corner. The hallway opened into a sitting area. Expensive furniture. Art on the walls that probably cost more than McKenna's entire life. Celeste stopped in front of a tall window. "Read the rules again," she said. Out loud. McKenna hesitated. "Why?" "Because words stick better when you hear them." McKenna looked down at the paper. Her voice came out quieter than she wanted. "Don't speak unless spoken to. Don't enter the West Wing. Don't ask about guests. Don't mention what you see." Celeste nodded. "Good. Now tell me what that means." McKenna looked up. "It means I'm invisible." Celeste's eyes softened, just a little. "It means you're safe." McKenna didn't believe her. "Safe from what?" she asked. Celeste didn't answer. She just turned and kept walking. They passed another glass corridor. This one had a view into what looked like an office. A man stood inside. Tall, broad shoulders, dark suit. He was on the phone. His back was to them. But something about the way he stood made McKenna's chest tighten, like her body recognized him before her brain did. Celeste's voice cut through. "That's Mr. Vale." McKenna swallowed. "He's home?" "He's always home," Celeste said. "He just doesn't always show it." The man turned slightly, just enough for McKenna to see his profile. Sharp jaw, dark hair, eyes that looked like they could cut through steel. And suddenly, McKenna couldn't breathe. Her vision blurred. Heat rushed over her skin. She wasn't standing in the hallway anymore. She was somewhere else. Somewhere dark. Smoke everywhere. Thick. Choking. Orange light flickering from flames she couldn't see. A voice in her ear. Low. Steady. "Breathe. Stay with me." hands lifting her, strong, careful. And then, nothing. Makina gasped. The hallway snapped back into focus. Her hands were shaking. Her heart was pounding so hard she thought it might break through her ribs. Celeste was staring at her. What just happened? Makina shook her head. Nothing. You went pale. I'm fine. Celeste didn't look convinced, but she didn't push. Instead, she pointed down the hall. Your room is that way. Third door on the left. Get settled. I'll come get you in an hour. Makina nodded. She didn't trust her voice. Celeste started to walk away. Then she stopped. Without turning around, she said, Makina. Yes? Whatever you think you remember, Celeste said slowly. So don't. Makina's stomach dropped. What? Celeste turned. Her face was harder now, colder. Some memories aren't meant to come. Back, she said, for your own good. Then she walked away. Makina stood there, frozen. Her phone buzzed in her pocket. She pulled it out with shaking hands. Unknown number. The message was short, simple. He doesn't remember you, but you remember him. Makina's breath caught. She looked back toward the glass corridor. Adrian Vale was still on the phone, still facing away, but something inside her knew. She'd seen him before. She'd heard his voice before, and somehow he was the reason she was here. The phone buzzed again. Don't let him know. Not yet. Makina's hands were trembling so hard she almost dropped the phone. She looked down the hallway, then back at the glass corridor. Adrian turned, just slightly, and for one heart-stopping second their eyes met. Makina's blood went cold, because in that split second she saw something flicker across his face. Not recognition, not curiosity, fear. Makina started in the guest wing an hour later. She cleaned fast, quiet, careful, like one wrong move could end everything. But the house felt strange, not just expensive, not just cold, familiar. She knew which doors would creak before she touched them. She knew which hallway light flickered even though she'd never been here before. She caught herself turning the right direction without thinking, and she hated that. Her hands moved on autopilot, dusting, wiping, straightening pillows that didn't need straightening, but her mind was somewhere else. That voice, breathe, stay with me, those hands lifting her, that smoke. She shook her head hard, tried to focus. Then she passed a wall of framed photos. Most of them were landscapes, empty beaches, mountains, nothing personal. But one frame was different. Makina stopped. It was a newspaper clipping, yellowed, old. The headline was in bold letters. The Rivergate Fire, 10 years ago, 17 lost. Below it was a photo. A building in flames, people outside screaming, smoke pouring into the night sky. Makina's stomach twisted. Her temple throbbed like someone pressed a finger into her brain. She stepped closer. Her eyes scanned the smaller text beneath the photo. Victims included families, workers, and children. Few survivors. Investigation ongoing. Makina's breath came shorter. She didn't know why. She'd never heard of the Rivergate Fire, but looking at that photo made her chest feel like it was caving in. Like she'd been there. Like she'd felt that heat. Some fires never go out. Even when the flames are gone, the smoke stays in your lungs. The burns stay on your skin. And the voices of the people who didn't make it stay in your head. Makina touched the frame. Her fingers trembled. Her phone buzzed. She jumped back like the photo had burned her. She pulled out her phone. Unknown number. Don't get distracted. He can't remember. Makina's heart pounded. She typed back fast. Remember what? No reply. She stared at the message, then back at the photo. 17 people lost. How many more were forgotten? How many names did people stop saying because it hurt too much to remember? Her throat tightened. Before she could think about it anymore, a voice cut through the silence. Celeste, over the intercom. Makina, West Elevator. Now. Makina froze. West Elevator. That meant one thing. His floor. She looked back at the photo one more time. The flames, the smoke, the faces frozen in terror, and something inside her whispered, You were there. McKenna shook her head. No, that was impossible. She turned and walked toward the elevator. Her legs felt heavy, like her body didn't want to go, but she didn't have a choice. She reached the elevator, swiped the key card Celeste had given her. The doors slid open. She stepped inside. The elevator rose, slow, steady. Her reflection stared back at her from the polished walls, dark eyes, tight jaw, hands clenched into fists. She looked scared. She was scared. The elevator stopped. A soft chime. The doors opened. The hallway was quieter than silence. Even the air felt expensive. At the end of the hall was a door, dark wood, gold handle. A small plate next to it read, A. Vale. McKenna's heart slammed against her ribs. She walked toward it. Each step felt like walking toward something she couldn't take back. She reached the door, raised her hand. Before she could knock, a voice came from inside, low, controlled, angry. If they want war, they can have it. McKenna's breath caught. That voice. She knew that voice. The door opened. Adrian Vale stood there, phone in hand, eyes sharp, cold. He looked at her like she was a problem he hadn't solved yet. Who are you? He asked. McKenna swallowed. McKenna. The new maid. His eyes dropped to her uniform, then back to her face. Something flickered. Too quick to name. His jaw tightened, and then he said something that made her blood stop. Don't lie in my house. McKenna stared at him. I'm not lying, she said. Adrian didn't move. He just stood there, watching her like she was a puzzle he couldn't figure out. Behind him, the office looked like power had a room of its own. Floor-to-ceiling windows, dark wood desk, screens on the wall showing numbers McKenna didn't understand. He lowered the phone slowly, never took his eyes off her. Then why? He said, voice low. Do you look like you've been here before? McKenna's heart jumped. I haven't. You're sure? Yes. Adrian stepped closer, not aggressive, just studying her. His eyes moved over her face, her hands, her uniform, like he was searching for something. What's your last name? He asked. McKenna hesitated. Moore. His jaw tightened. Where are you from? Why does it matter? Answer the question. McKenna swallowed. I don't know. Adrian's eyes sharpened. You don't know where you're from? I grew up in foster care, McKenna said. I don't remember anything before I was 8. Something shifted in Adrian's face. Not sympathy. Something else. Like he'd just heard something he didn't want to hear. He turned away. Walked to the window. Stood with his back to her. Silence stretched between them. McKenna didn't know if she should stay or go. Then Adrian spoke. Quieter this time. That name, he said. McKenna frowned. What? McKenna. Her stomach twisted. What about it? Adrian's reflection stared back at her from the window. His face was harder now, colder. I knew someone with that name once, he said. McKenna's breath caught. Who? Adrian didn't answer. He turned back around, his eyes locked on hers, and for a moment, McKenna felt like she was falling, like the ground under her feet wasn't solid anymore. Work, Adrian said suddenly, sharp, final, and stay out of the West Wing. McKenna nodded. She didn't trust her voice. She turned to leave, but she felt his eyes follow her, like a shadow she couldn't shake. She stepped into the hallway. The door closed behind her. Her hands were shaking. She didn't know why. She didn't know him. She'd never met him before, but something inside her knew that was a lie. Her phone buzzed. She pulled it out. Unknown number. He's starting to remember. Don't push. Not yet. McKenna's chest tightened. She typed back. Remember what? The reply came fast. The night he saved you. McKenna stopped walking. The hallway spun. Her vision blurred. Smoke. Heat. Hands lifting her. That voice. Breathe. Stay with me. She grabbed the wall to steady herself. Her phone buzzed again. You were 8 years old. He was 17. and he promised he'd never forget you. McKenna's knees buckled. She slid down to the floor, back against the wall. Her mind was screaming. No, that wasn't possible. She would have remembered. She would have known. But deep down, in a place she didn't want to look, she knew the truth. She had been there, in that fire, and Adrian Vale had pulled her out. Her phone buzzed one more time, but he did forget. And now you're back, and he doesn't know what to do with you. McKenna stared at the message. Her hands were shaking so hard she could barely hold the phone. Footsteps echoed down the hall. She looked up. Celeste stood there, arms crossed, face unreadable. "Get up," Celeste said. McKenna didn't move. "You knew." Celeste didn't deny it. "Yes. Why didn't you tell me?" "Because," Celeste said slowly, "some truths are dangerous." McKenna's throat burned. "Dangerous for who?" Celeste's eyes softened, just a little. "For both of you." Before McKenna could ask anything else, Celeste's phone buzzed. She looked at the screen. Her face went pale. "What?" McKenna asked. Celeste looked up. Her voice was tight. "The lockbox just opened." McKenna's blood went cold. "What lockbox?" Celeste didn't answer. She just turned and ran. McKenna followed Celeste down the hallway. Fast, too fast. "What lockbox?" McKenna asked again. Celeste didn't answer, just kept moving. They stopped at a door, heavy, dark wood. Celeste pushed it open. Inside was a study, tall shelves, leather chairs, windows that looked down on the city like it belonged to whoever stood there. And on the desk sat a small metal box, old, scratched, like it didn't belong with the rest of the polished luxury. Celeste stared at it. Her face was pale. "He told me to never let this open," she whispered. McKenna stepped closer. "What is it?" Celeste shook her head. "A failsafe." "For what?" Before Celeste could answer, footsteps echoed behind them, heavy, fast. Celeste's eyes went wide. "Go, now." "What?" "He can't see you here. Go." But it was too late. The door swung open. Adrian stood there, his eyes locked on McKenna, then dropped to the lockbox. His jaw tightened. "Step away from that." McKenna froze. Celeste moved between them. "Sir, I was just—" "Leave," Adrian said. His voice was sharp, final. Celeste hesitated, then nodded, and walked out. The door closed behind her. Now it was just McKenna and Adrian, and the lockbox. Adrian walked in slowly. His eyes never left McKenna. "Why are you shaking?" he asked. McKenna swallowed. "I'm not." "You are." She clenched her fists. "You're standing too close." Adrian stopped. But he didn't step back. He looked at the lockbox, then at her. "Did you touch it?" he asked. "No." "Why not?" McKenna frowned. "You told me not to." Adrian's eyes sharpened. "I never said that." McKenna's stomach dropped. "Celeste did." "No," Adrian said quietly. "I did. 10 years ago." McKenna's breath caught. Adrian stepped closer. His gaze moved over her face again, searching. "You have no idea what you're doing to me," he said. McKenna's chest tightened. "I'm just cleaning." "No," Adrian said. His voice dropped. "You're not just anything." McKenna forced herself to breathe. "Then tell me what you want." Adrian's jaw flexed. "I want control back." "Of me?" He shook his head, slow. "Of myself." He stepped closer. McKenna stepped back. Her spine hit the desk. Adrian stopped immediately. His hands lifted slightly, palms open, like he was proving he wouldn't touch her. But his eyes were burning. When silence becomes violence, it's because the powerful learned they don't need to raise their hands to trap someone. They just need to stand close enough to make you forget you ever had a choice. "Listen to me," Adrian said. "I won't touch you without your choice." McKenna's voice shook. "Then why are you standing so close?" Adrian's throat moved. "Because you're a problem." McKenna blinked. "I'm a person." "I know." His voice cracked. "That's why it scares me." A beat passed, so tight it felt like the air could snap. Then Adrian whispered something that made McKenna's blood turn hot and cold at the same time. "I will make you mine tonight." McKenna's heart screamed no, but her body didn't move. Adrian's eyes widened, like he couldn't believe he'd said it out loud. He stepped back, fast, like he'd touched fire. "I'm sorry," he said. "I shouldn't have." The elevator outside chimed. Footsteps. Fast. A man burst into the hallway, pale, breathing hard. He stopped in the doorway, eyes wide. "Sir," he choked out. "The lockbox. It opened." Adrian went still. "What? It played the recording?" Adrian's face drained of color. "No." McKenna frowned. "What recording?" The man's hands shook as he held up a tablet. "The one you made? 10 years ago." Adrian turned to look at McKenna, and for the first time, the power in his eyes wasn't hunger, it was fear. "The one I made," he whispered, "for the day I became a monster." McKenna's head throbbed, smoke, heat, screaming, that voice. "Breathe, stay with me." She blinked hard. Adrian grabbed the tablet from the man's hands. His face went pale as he read the screen. Then he looked at McKenna. "Come," he said. McKenna didn't move. "Where?" "Somewhere you'll finally understand." He turned and walked out. McKenna stood there, heart pounding. Her phone buzzed. "Unknown number. If you go with him, you'll learn the truth. But you can't unhear it." McKenna stared at the message. Then she looked at the doorway where Adrian had disappeared. She took a breath and followed him. McKenna caught up to Adrian in the hallway. She grabbed his arm. He stopped, turned, looked at her hand on his sleeve, then at her face. "Do you hear yourself?" McKenna asked. Her voice shook with anger. Adrian pulled his arm away gently. "I do, and I hate it." "Then why say it?" Adrian's eyes tightened, like the words hurt him too. "Because you're a problem," he said. McKenna stepped back. "I'm a person." "I know." His throat moved. "That's why it scares me." McKenna stared at him, trying to understand. "You don't even know me," she said. Adrian's jaw clenched. "That's the lie I've been telling myself." McKenna's chest tightened. "What does that mean?" Adrian looked away, down the hall, like he couldn't face her. "It means," he said slowly, "I've been waiting for you to walk through that door for 10 years. McKenna's breath caught. "You're lying." "I wish I was." She shook her head. "You don't remember me. You said so yourself." Adrian turned back to her. His eyes were darker now, wet. "I don't remember your face," he said, "but I remember your voice. I remember the way you held on to me. I remember thinking, if I let you go, I'd lose the only good thing I ever did." McKenna's vision blurred. She didn't want to cry. Not here. Not in front of him. But her body didn't listen. "You don't get to do this," she whispered. "Do what? Make me feel like I owe you something." Adrian flinched. "You don't. Then why am I here?" Adrian's hands lifted, then dropped, like he didn't know what to do with them. "Because I couldn't let you disappear again," he said. McKenna's throat burned. "So you controlled my life instead?" Adrian's face crumpled. "Yes." The honesty hit her like a slap. She waited for him to defend himself, to make excuses, but he didn't. He just stood there, broken. McKenna wiped her face hard. "You said you'd make me yours tonight." Adrian nodded. "I was wrong. You think that makes it better?" "No," Adrian said, "but I'm trying to be honest now." McKenna laughed, bitter. "Now? After 10 years? Adrian's voice cracked. "I didn't know how to do this without ruining it." "You already did." The words hung in the air between them, heavy, final. Adrian's shoulders dropped. He looked like he'd been holding his breath for years and finally let it out. "You're right," he said quietly. Before McKenna could respond, the elevator chimed again. The same man from before stumbled out, still pale, still shaking. "Sir," he said, voice tight. "The recording. It's playing on loop. The board is seeing it. The press is asking questions." Adrian's face went white. "Stop it. I can't. It's locked. You programmed it that way." Adrian turned to McKenna. His eyes were wild now, desperate. "You need to hear it," he said. McKenna shook her head. "I don't want to. You need to." "Why?" Adrian stepped closer. His voice dropped. "Because it's the only way you'll understand why I can't let you go." McKenna's heart pounded. She wanted to run, to leave, to never look back, but something inside her pulled her forward. "Show me," she said. Adrian nodded. He turned and walked fast down the hallway. McKenna followed. The man with the tablet stayed behind, watching them go. They reached a door McKenna hadn't seen before, hidden behind a painting on the wall. Adrian pulled the painting aside, entered a code on a keypad. The door clicked open. Inside was a small room, no windows, no luxury, just a chair, a screen, and speakers. Adrian stood in front of the screen. His hand hovered over the play button. He looked at McKenna. "Once you hear this," he said, "you can't unhear it." McKenna swallowed. "Play it." Adrian pressed the button. The screen lit up. A younger Adrian appeared. His face was bruised, his eyes were tired, but he looked human in a way the older Adrian didn't. "If you're watching this," the recording said, "you crossed the line." McKenna's stomach dropped. The younger Adrian swallowed hard. "I was there the night of the Rivergate fire." McKenna's temple pulsed. Her vision flashed. Orange light, heat, a child crying. "I saved one person," the recording continued. McKenna whispered without meaning to. "McKenna." The voice on the screen said it next. Her name was McKenna. McKenna staggered back. Her knees buckled. Adrian caught her, gently, carefully. "Breathe," he whispered. That word, that voice, it was him. It had always been him. McKenna pulled away from Adrian. She couldn't breathe right. The younger Adrian on the screen kept talking. "I was 17, working a late shift at my father's company. We had offices in the Rivergate building." McKenna's legs felt weak. She grabbed the edge of the desk to stay standing. "The fire started on the 3rd floor. The recording continued. I heard the alarms. I ran." The younger Adrian's voice cracked. "Most people made it out, but I heard a child crying on the 5th floor." McKenna's vision blurred again. Heat, smoke, a hallway she couldn't see through. "I went back in," young Adrian said. "I found her in a closet. She was 8 years old, scared. Alone." McKenna's throat closed. She remembered now. Not everything, but pieces, hiding, crying, thinking no one would come. Then hands, strong, lifting her. A voice saying, "I've got you. Breathe. Stay with me." "I carried her out," the recording said. "But by the time we got outside, the ambulance was already full. She was hurt. Burns on her arms, smoke in her lungs." McKenna looked down at her arms, the scars she'd always had, small, faded. She'd been told they were from an accident when she was little, but no one ever told her what kind of accident. "I stayed with her at the hospital," young Adrian said, "for 3 days, until she woke up." McKenna's chest tightened. When she woke up, she looked at me and said, "You came back." McKenna's knees gave out. She hit the floor hard. Adrian moved toward her, but stopped, like he didn't know if he was allowed to help. "I promised her," the recording continued, "that I would make sure she was safe, that she'd have a life, a real one." McKenna wiped her face. Her hands were shaking. "But I couldn't keep her with me. I was 17. My father was dead. The company was falling apart, so I did the only thing I could think of." The younger Adrian looked straight at the camera. His eyes were red. "I gave her a new name, a new start. I set up a trust, paid for everything, school, housing, everything. McKenna's stomach turned. You erased me, she whispered. Adrian didn't deny it. The recording kept going. I told myself it was the right thing to do, that she deserved to forget, to move on. What if your past wasn't yours to keep? What if someone decided your story for you, thinking they were saving you, when really they were just hiding their guilt? The younger Adrian swallowed hard. But I never forgot. I couldn't. So I made this recording. For the day I became the man I swore I'd never be. McKenna looked up at Adrian, the real one, standing in the room with her. What does that mean? She asked. Adrian's voice was barely a whisper. It means if I ever used my power to control someone, to trap them, to make them mine without their choice, this recording would release. McKenna's breath caught. And it just did, she said. Adrian nodded. The recording wasn't done. If you're watching this, young Adrian said, it means I brought her back into my life, and I forgot why I let her go. McKenna stood slowly. Her legs barely held her. You brought me here on purpose, she said. Adrian's face crumpled. Yes. You hired me. You watched me. You planned all of this. Yes. McKenna's hands clenched into fists. Why? Adrian's voice broke. Because I needed to see if I could be near you without wanting to own you. McKenna laughed, bitter, angry. And how did that work out? Adrian looked at the floor. It didn't. The screen went black. The room fell silent. McKenna stared at Adrian, her chest heaving. So what now? She asked. Adrian lifted his head. His eyes were wet. Now you decide. Decide what? If you stay, Adrian said, or if you walk away and never look back. McKenna's throat burned. Before she could answer, her phone buzzed. She pulled it out with shaking hands. Unknown number. He can't remember. But Celeste does. McKenna stared at the message. She looked at Adrian. Celeste knows everything? Adrian's face went pale. What? Footsteps echoed in the hallway. Slow. Steady. The door opened. Celeste stood there. Her face was calm. Too calm. Yes, Celeste said. I know everything. McKenna's heart stopped. Because I was there too. McKenna stared at Celeste. You were there? She whispered. Celeste nodded once. Yes. Adrian turned toward her. His face was hard, angry. Why didn't you tell me? Celeste's voice was calm, too calm. You told me not to. McKenna's head spun. What? Celeste looked at McKenna. Her eyes softened, just a little. 10 years ago? Celeste said. Adrian asked me to help him erase your past, to give you a clean start. McKenna's chest tightened. And you did it? Yes. Why? Celeste's jaw clenched. Because I thought it was the right thing to do. McKenna laughed, bitter. The right thing? You stole my life. We saved it, Celeste said. No, McKenna shot back. You controlled it. Adrian stepped between them. Stop. McKenna turned to him. Her eyes burned. You don't get to tell me to stop. Adrian's hands lifted. You're right. I'm sorry. McKenna shook her head. Sorry doesn't give me my choices back. The room went quiet. No one moved. No one breathed. 5 full seconds passed. The kind of silence that cuts deeper than words. Control disguised as care is the cruelest kind of betrayal, because it makes you question if you were ever free at all. McKenna wiped her face hard. So, what am I to you? Adrian's voice cracked. A mirror. A mirror? Yes, he said. Someone who reminds me of who I was before I became this. McKenna stepped closer. And you said you'd make me yours tonight. Adrian flinched. I know. Do you hear how that sounds? McKenna's voice shook. You brought me back into your life. You watched me. You planned this. And now you want to own me? Adrian's eyes filled. I don't want to own you. Then what do you want? Adrian's throat moved. I want to deserve you. McKenna's breath caught. She didn't expect that. Adrian's voice dropped. But I know I don't. I know I never will. Celeste cleared her throat. There's something else. McKenna turned. What? Celeste pulled out her phone, showed McKenna the screen. It was a file. Old. Scanned documents. After the fire, Celeste said, we searched for your family. We couldn't find anyone. McKenna's stomach twisted. I know. You told me. But that's not the whole truth, Celeste said quietly. Adrian's head snapped up. What? Celeste looked at him, then back at McKenna. We did find someone. McKenna's heart stopped. Who? Celeste hesitated. Your mother. McKenna's knees buckled. She grabbed the desk to stay standing. Where is she? McKenna whispered. Celeste's face went tight. She didn't want you. The words hit McKenna like a punch to the chest. What? Celeste's voice was soft now. Careful. After the fire, we contacted her. She said she couldn't take care of you. That it was better if you stayed with the state. McKenna's vision blurred. She gave me up? Yes. McKenna shook her head. No, that's not true. It is, Celeste said. I'm sorry. McKenna's throat burned. Why didn't you tell me? Because Adrian asked me not to. McKenna turned to Adrian. Her voice broke. You knew? Adrian nodded. His face was pale. Yes. And you didn't think I deserved to know? I thought I was protecting you, Adrian said. McKenna's hands shook. From what? From the truth, McKenna laughed. It sounded broken. The truth that my mother didn't want me? That you decided my entire life for me? That everything I am was built on your guilt? Adrian's voice was barely a whisper. Yes. McKenna stepped back. I can't do this. She turned toward the door. Adrian's voice stopped her. McKenna, wait. She didn't turn around. Why? Because there's more. McKenna's blood went cold. What? Celeste spoke. There's a second recording. McKenna turned slowly. What? Celeste gestured to the lockbox on the desk. It's inside. Set to play tonight. McKenna's heart pounded. Why tonight? Adrian's voice was tight. Because that's when I told it to release. Told it to release what? Adrian looked at her. His eyes were desperate. The full truth. Before McKenna could ask what that meant, her phone buzzed. She pulled it out. Unknown number. The second recording isn't about him. It's about you. McKenna stared at the message. Her hands started shaking. She looked up at Adrian. What does that mean? Adrian's face went pale. I don't know. You're lying. I'm not, Adrian said. I never watched the second recording. I programmed it to only play if... He stopped. McKenna's voice was sharp. If what? Adrian swallowed. If I crossed the line. McKenna's chest tightened. And you did. Adrian nodded. The lockbox on the desk clicked. Once. Twice. Then it opened. The lockbox opened with a soft snap. Inside was a small drive. Black. Simple. A label was taped to it. McKenna's name and a date. Tonight's date. McKenna's breath stopped. What is that? Adrian stared at it like it was a bomb. I don't know. Celeste stepped forward. She picked up the drive carefully, like it might break. You don't know. McKenna's voice rose. You made it. I made it 10 years ago, Adrian said. I don't remember what's on it. McKenna's hand shook. Then plug it in. Adrian hesitated. Celeste looked at him. She deserves to know. Adrian nodded slowly. He took the drive from Celeste's hands. He walked to the screen. Plugged it in. The screen flickered. Then a video started playing. But it wasn't Adrian on the screen this time. It was Celeste. Younger. Thinner. Her hair was longer. Her face was softer. She was standing in a hospital hallway, holding a clipboard. My name is Celeste Moreau, the recording said. I'm a social worker assigned to the Rivergate fire case. McKenna's stomach dropped. Celeste on the screen looked at the camera. I was there the night of the fire. Adrian turned to the real Celeste. You never told me you were a social worker. Celeste didn't look at him. She just stared at the screen. "I was 25, she said quietly. "It was my first assignment." On the screen, younger Celeste continued. "I arrived at the scene with the paramedics. Most of the survivors were already outside. But I heard someone screaming inside." Makina's chest tightened. "I went in," the recording said, "and I found a man carrying a child down the stairs." Makina's breath caught. The man was Adrian Vale. He was 17. The child was Makina Moore. She was 8. Tears filled Makina's eyes. Adrian was burned. The recording continued. His arms, his hands, but he wouldn't let go of her. Makina looked at Adrian. "You were hurt?" Adrian didn't answer. He just looked at the floor. The recording kept going. "When we got outside, Makina was unconscious. Smoke inhalation. Second-degree burns on her arms." Makina's hands moved to her scars. The ones she'd always had. The ones no one ever explained. Adrian stayed with her in the ambulance, the recording said. He kept saying the same thing over and over. Makina's throat closed. Younger Celeste's voice was softer now. He said, "Breathe, stay with me." Makina's knees buckled. Adrian caught her, again. "That's what I heard," Makina whispered. "In my head, that voice." Adrian's eyes filled. "It was me." Makina pulled away. "Why can't I remember?" "Trauma," Celeste said from behind them. "Your brain blocked it out." Makina turned to her. "But I remember pieces. The heat, the smoke, your voice." She looked at Adrian. "Why didn't you tell me?" Adrian's voice cracked. "Because I thought if you never remembered, you could be free." Makina shook her head. "Free? You call this free?" The screen flickered again. Younger Celeste leaned closer to the camera. 3 days later, Makina woke up. She asked for Adrian, but he was gone. Makina's heart stopped. "What?" His father had just died. The recording continued. The company was in crisis. He couldn't stay. Makina looked at Adrian. "You left me?" Adrian's face was pale. "I didn't have a choice." "Everyone has a choice," Makina said. Adrian flinched. The recording wasn't done. "Before Adrian left, he asked me to do something." Makina's stomach twisted. "He asked me to make sure Makina was taken care of. To give her a new life, a clean start." Celeste on the screen held up a folder. "So I erased her records, changed her name, set up a trust in her name, and I promised him I would watch over her." Makina turned to the real Celeste. "You've been watching me my whole life?" Celeste nodded. "Yes." Makina's voice broke. "Why?" "Because I made a promise." Makina's hands clenched into fists. "To him? Not to me?" Celeste's eyes softened. "To both of you." The screen went black. Then it flickered one more time. A new image appeared, a hospital form. At the top it said, "Patient, Makina Moore. Age, 8. Emergency contact, none." Below it, in red ink, someone had written, "Mother contacted. Refused custody." Makina's vision blurred. She stepped closer to the screen. "My mother," she whispered. "She knew I was alive. And she didn't want me." Celeste's voice was gentle. "I'm sorry." Makina shook her head. "Why can't I remember her?" "Because you never knew her," Celeste said. "She gave you up when you were 6. You were already in foster care when the fire happened." Makina's legs gave out. She hit the floor. This time, Adrian didn't move. He just stood there, frozen. The lockbox on the desk clicked again, louder this time. A second compartment opened. Inside was another drive, and a note, written in Adrian's handwriting. "If she asks about her mother, show her this." Celeste picked up the second drive. Her hands were shaking. "Don't," Adrian said. His voice was tight. "Please." Celeste looked at him. "She needs to know. It'll destroy her." She's already destroyed, Celeste said quietly. McKenna stood slowly. Her legs barely held her. Play it. Adrian shook his head. McKenna, play it, she said again, louder. Celeste plugged in the drive. The screen flickered. A hospital room appeared. White walls, beeping machines. A small girl lay in the bed. Burns on her arms, tubes in her nose. McKenna's breath stopped. That was her, 8 years old, alone. A doctor stood beside the bed, clipboard in hand. No ID, the doctor said to someone off screen. No family. We contacted the state. A voice responded. Young, scared. What happens to her? The camera shifted. Adrian appeared, 17, face bruised, arms bandaged. The doctor looked at him. She goes into the system, foster care, unless someone claims her. Adrian's jaw tightened. What if I claim her? The doctor frowned. You're a minor. I'll be 18 in 3 months. That's not how this works. Adrian stepped closer to the bed. Then tell me how it works? The doctor sighed. She needs a legal guardian, family, someone the state approves. Adrian looked down at the girl in the bed, at McKenna. She doesn't have anyone, he said softly. The doctor nodded. I know. Adrian's hands clenched. Then I'll make sure she does. The screen went black for a second. Then a new scene appeared. A lawyer's office, dark wood, heavy chairs. Adrian sat across from a man in a suit. You want to do what? The lawyer asked. Set up a trust, Adrian said, for the girl from the fire. The lawyer frowned. You're 17. I have access to my father's estate. That doesn't mean you can. I can, Adrian said. His voice was hard. And I will. The lawyer leaned back. What exactly are you proposing? Adrian pulled out a folder. New identity, new records, private schooling, housing, everything she needs. The lawyer's eyes widened. You want to erase her? I want to save her, Adrian said. The lawyer shook his head. This is illegal. Then make it legal. The screen flickered again. A social services office. Celeste sat at a desk, younger, uncertain. Adrian stood in front of her. I need your help. Celeste looked up. With what? A girl, from the fire. She has no one. Celeste's face softened. I know. I was assigned to her case. Then you know she deserves better than the system. Celeste nodded. What are you asking me to do? Adrian leaned forward. Change her records, give her a clean start, make sure she never remembers the fire. Celeste's eyes widened. That's not legal. It's necessary. Imagine waking up one day and finding out you were never who you thought you were. That your name, your story, your entire existence was someone else's design. And they did it thinking they were helping you. Celeste hesitated. Why? Because she doesn't deserve to carry this, Adrian said. And I can't be the person she needs. Not now, maybe not ever. Celeste studied him. So you're giving her away? Adrian's voice cracked. I'm setting her free. The screen went black. McKenna stared at it, her chest heaving. She turned to Adrian. You erased me. Adrian's eyes filled. I saved you. McKenna stepped closer. Her hands shook. You decided my life, without asking, without my permission. You were 8, Adrian said. That doesn't make it right. Adrian nodded. I know. McKenna's voice broke. You took everything from me, my past, my mother, my name. Your mother didn't want you, Adrian said quietly. McKenna slapped him. The sound echoed in the small room. Adrian didn't move. He just stood there, his cheek red. Celeste stepped forward. McKenna, don't, McKenna said. Her voice was sharp. You helped him. Celeste's face was tight. I thought I was doing the right thing. You weren't. McKenna turned back to Adrian. So what now? Adrian's voice was barely a whisper. Now you know the truth. And what am I supposed to do with it? Whatever you want, Adrian said. It's yours now. McKenna laughed, bitter. Mine? Nothing has ever been mine. The lockbox clicked again. A third compartment opened. Inside was a timer, digital, red numbers. It read 0 to 17 years and it was counting down. McKenna's heart stopped. What is that? Celeste's face went pale. A fail-safe. For what? Adrian's voice was tight. If I cross the line, the files release. McKenna's stomach twisted. What files? Everything, Adrian said. The truth, the money, the records. McKenna stared at the timer. And when it hit 0, Adrian swallowed. The world finds out what I did. The timer ticked down. Srut 16:42. McKenna's phone buzzed. She pulled it out. Unknown number. You have 17 minutes to decide if he deserves forgiveness, or if the world deserves the truth. McKenna looked up at Adrian. His face was pale, desperate. McKenna, he whispered. I'm sorry. The timer kept ticking. 0:16:15. McKenna stared at the timer. 0:58. Her heart pounded so hard it hurt. What happens when it hits 0? She asked. Adrian's voice was tight. Everything goes public. The files, the recordings, the trust, all of it. McKenna's hands shook. To who? A trustee, Adrian said. Someone outside my control. They'll release it to the press, the board, everyone. McKenna's stomach twisted. So my life was insurance? Adrian flinched. No. Then what was it? Adrian's throat moved. My conscience. McKenna laughed, bitter. Your conscience? You used me to keep yourself in check? Yes, Adrian said quietly. Celeste stepped forward. McKenna, listen. No, McKenna said. Her voice was sharp. I'm done listening. She looked at the timer again. Ziburuwas 15:12. Can you stop it? She asked. Adrian shook his head. No, I programmed it that way. Once it starts, it can't be stopped. McKenna's chest tightened. Then what's the point? The point, Adrian said, is accountability. McKenna stared at him. Accountability for what? For becoming the man I swore I'd never be. The timer ticked down. 0:14:48. McKenna's phone buzzed. She pulled it out with shaking hands. Unknown number, he will ask. The answer decides everything. McKenna's breath caught. She looked up at Adrian. Ask what? Adrian frowned. What? McKenna showed him the message. His face went pale. Celeste looked at the screen. Who's sending these? I don't know, McKenna said. Adrian's jaw tightened. It doesn't matter. We have 14 minutes. 14 minutes to do what? McKenna asked. To decide, Adrian said. Decide what? Adrian stepped closer. His eyes were desperate now. If you want to stop this, McKenna's stomach dropped. I can't stop it. You just said, I can't stop it, Adrian interrupted. But you can. McKenna's breath stopped. What? Adrian gestured to the lockbox. There's a release switch. Inside. Only you can activate it. McKenna's head spun. Why me? Because I programmed it that way, Adrian said. 10 years ago. Before I forgot. McKenna shook her head. I don't understand. Celeste spoke. Her voice was soft. He made you the fail-safe. McKenna's knees felt weak. What does that mean? It means, Celeste said, if he ever crossed the line, you'd be the one to decide if he deserved mercy. McKenna stared at Adrian. You gave me the power? Adrian nodded. Yes. Why? Adrian's voice cracked. Because I trusted you, even when I didn't remember you. The timer ticked down. Surabhuna 13:21. McKenna's mind raced. She looked at the lockbox, at the timer, at Adrian. What happens if I don't release it? She asked. Adrian swallowed. The files go public. My company falls. My reputation is destroyed. And the truth about what I did to you becomes national news. McKenna's chest tightened. And if I do release it? Everything stops. Adrian said. The files stay private. Your life stays yours. Makina's hands clenched. But you get away with it. Adrian nodded. Yes. Makina's throat burned. So I'm supposed to choose between destroying you, letting you walk free? Yes. Makina stepped back. That's not fair. I know, Adrian said, but it's the only choice I can give you. The timer kept ticking. 0:12:45. Makina's phone buzzed again. Unknown number. Don't let him manipulate you. He wants you to save him. Makina stared at the message. She looked up at Adrian. Do you want me to save you? Adrian's eyes filled. No. Then what do you want? Adrian's voice broke. I want you to be free. Makina shook her head. I'll never be free. Not after this. Adrian flinched. Celeste cleared her throat. Makina, whatever you choose, it's yours. Makina turned to her. You think I should stop it? Celeste hesitated. I think you should do what feels right. Makina laughed. Nothing feels right. The timer flashed. 0:11:58. Makina walked to the lockbox. Her hand hovered over the release switch. It was small, red, simple. One press and it would all stop. One press and Adrian would be safe. But what about her? Her phone buzzed one more time. Unknown number. If you save him, you'll never know if he truly changed or if he just got lucky. Makina's hand trembled. She looked at Adrian. Did you cross the line? Adrian's jaw tightened. Yes. When? Adrian's voice was barely a whisper. When I said I'd make you mine tonight. Makina's chest tightened. The timer ticked down. 11:12. She pressed the switch halfway. The timer paused. Adrian's eyes widened. What did you do? I stopped it, Makina said. Not released, not erased, just stopped. Celeste exhaled. You're holding it. Makina nodded. For now. Adrian stepped forward. Makina, don't, she said. Her voice was sharp. This doesn't make us anything. Adrian stopped. I know. Makina looked at the frozen timer. 0:11:12. You have 11 minutes, she said. To prove this wasn't a performance. Adrian's throat moved. How? Makina's eyes locked on his. By answering one question. Adrian waited. Makina's voice was steady now, cold. Did you bring me here because you wanted to save me? Or because you couldn't let me go? Adrian stared at Makina. His mouth opened, then closed. He didn't have an answer, or maybe he did, and he was afraid to say it. Makina's voice was steady, cold. Tell me the truth. Adrian exhaled slowly. Both. Makina's chest tightened. Both. Yes, Adrian said. I wanted to save you, and I couldn't let you go. Makina shook her head. That's not the same thing. I know. Then which one was stronger? Adrian's jaw clenched. The second one. Makina's stomach twisted. She'd known, deep down, but hearing him say it out loud made it real. So this whole time, she said quietly, you were just holding on. Adrian nodded. Yes. To what? To the only thing that made me feel human. Makina's throat burned. I'm not a thing. Adrian flinched. I know, and I'm sorry. Makina looked at the timer. Still frozen. 0:11:12. Sorry doesn't give me my choices back, she said. Adrian stepped forward, slowly. You're right. Makina's eyes sharpened. So, what are you going to do about it? Adrian reached for the lockbox. He slid it across the desk, toward Makina. I'm giving you control, he said. Makina stared at it. What? You decide if the files release, Adrian said. Not me, you. Makina's breath caught. You trust me? Adrian's voice cracked. I'm choosing to. Makina picked up the lockbox. It felt heavier than metal. Permission shouldn't be revolutionary. But when someone spent their whole life being told what to do, who to be, where to go, just being asked feels like freedom. She looked at Adrian. What if I choose to release it? Adrian's face was pale. but steady. Then I live with it. McKenna's hands shook. You'd lose everything. I know. And you're okay with that? Adrian swallowed. No, but it's not my choice anymore. McKenna stared at him, searching his face for a lie, but she didn't find one. Celeste spoke softly. McKenna, whatever you choose, we'll respect it. McKenna turned to her. Will you? Celeste nodded. Yes. McKenna looked back at the lockbox, at the red switch. One press and it would all be over. Adrian would fall. His company, his reputation, everything, and she would finally have power. But was that what she wanted? Her phone buzzed. She pulled it out. Unknown number. He must ask first. McKenna frowned. Ask what? Adrian's eyes narrowed. What does it say? McKenna showed him. His face went pale. I don't know what that means. Celeste looked at the message. It means there's something he hasn't asked you yet. McKenna's heart pounded. What? Adrian shook his head. I don't know. But his voice was tight, like he was lying. McKenna stepped closer. Yes, you do. Adrian's hands lifted, palms open. McKenna, I swear. Stop lying, McKenna said. Her voice was sharp. You know what you need to ask me. Adrian's jaw clenched. I can't. Why? Because if I ask, you'll say no. McKenna's chest tightened. Then ask anyway. Adrian's throat moved. He looked at the floor, then back at her. His voice was barely a whisper. McKenna, he said. May I stay? McKenna blinked. Stay? Yes. Stay where? Adrian's eyes were wet now. In this moment, with you. Not as your boss, not as your savior, just as someone who's asking permission. McKenna's breath stopped. She'd never been asked before, not by him, not by anyone. She'd been told, decided for, controlled, but never asked. You're asking permission, she said quietly. Yes. For the first time, Adrian nodded. Yes. McKenna stepped back. She needed space, air. And if I say no? She asked. Adrian's voice was steady. Then I leave? And the timer? Still yours, Adrian said. Whatever you decide. McKenna looked at the lockbox, at the frozen timer, at Adrian. He wasn't reaching for her, wasn't pushing, wasn't trying to control. He was just standing there, waiting for her answer. McKenna's phone buzzed again. Unknown number. This is the test, not the timer. This. McKenna stared at the message. She looked up at Adrian. If I say yes, what happens? Adrian's voice was soft. Nothing. I just stay. And we figure it out together. And if I say no? I walk away, Adrian said, and you never see me again. McKenna's chest felt tight. She wanted to say no. To make him leave. To prove she didn't need him. But something inside her hesitated. Not because she wanted him to stay, but because she wanted to choose. For once. I don't owe you forgiveness, she said. I know. I don't owe you closeness. I know. McKenna stepped closer, just enough to make it her choice. But I won't be silent anymore, she said. Adrian nodded. I'm listening. McKenna took a breath. Then hear this, she said. If you stay, you follow my rules, not yours. Adrian's eyes widened slightly. Okay. And you don't touch me without asking. Ever. Okay. McKenna's voice was steady now. Strong. And if you cross the line again, I release the files. No second chances. Adrian swallowed. Understood. McKenna looked at the timer. 0, 11, 12. She pressed the switch. Not all the way, just enough to restart it. The numbers began counting down again. 0, 11, 11, 0, 11, 10. Adrian's eyes went wide. What are you doing? McKenna's voice was calm. Choosing time. For what? For you to prove this wasn't a performance. The timer kept ticking. 0, 10, 58. Adrian's hands shook. McKenna, 10 minutes, she said, to show me you mean it. Adrian stared at her. Then he nodded. And the clock kept counting down. The timer ticked down. 09:58. Adrian stood frozen, like moving would break something fragile. McKenna watched him, waiting. 10 minutes, she said again, to prove you're not the man you were. Adrian swallowed. How? McKenna's voice was steady. By being honest, about everything. Adrian nodded slowly. Okay. No more control, McKenna said. No more deciding for me. Okay. And no more lines like, I will make you mine. Adrian flinched. I know, I'm sorry. McKenna stepped closer. Sorry isn't enough. I know that too. The timer flashed. 09:21. McKenna's eyes locked on his. Then tell me why you said it. Adrian's jaw tightened. Because I was scared. Of what? Of losing you again. McKenna shook her head. You never had me. Adrian's voice cracked. That's what scared me. McKenna's chest tightened. She wanted to stay angry, to hold on to the rage, but something in his voice made her pause. You don't get to be scared, she said quietly. Not after what you did. Adrian nodded. You're right. Then why should I believe you? Adrian looked at the floor, then back at her. Because I'm not asking you to. McKenna frowned. What? I'm not asking you to believe me, Adrian said. I'm asking you to let me prove it. McKenna stared at him, searching for a lie. But his eyes were clear, desperate, honest. How? She asked. Adrian gestured to the lockbox. By giving you everything. You already did that. No, Adrian said. I gave you control of the files, but I didn't give you control of me. McKenna's breath caught. What does that mean? Adrian stepped closer. Not too close, just enough to be heard. It means, he said, from now on you decide, if I stay, if I go, if I get a second chance. McKenna's throat burned. That's too much power. No, Adrian said, it's the power you always deserved. The timer ticked down. 00:08:42. Celeste cleared her throat. McKenna, whatever you choose, it's valid. McKenna turned to her. You think I should forgive him? Celeste hesitated. I think forgiveness is for you, not him. McKenna's eyes stung. What if I'm not ready? Then you're not ready, Celeste said. And that's okay. McKenna looked back at Adrian. He wasn't moving, wasn't reaching, wasn't trying to manipulate. He was just standing there, waiting. Tell me something, McKenna said. Adrian nodded. Anything. When you brought me here, she said slowly, did you know what would happen? Adrian's face tightened. No. But you hoped? Adrian's voice was barely a whisper. Yes. McKenna's chest ached. Hoped for what? Adrian's throat moved. That being near you would fix me. McKenna shook her head. I'm not here to fix you. I know. Then what do you want from me? Adrian's eyes filled. Nothing. McKenna frowned. You're lying. I'm not, Adrian said. I don't want anything from you anymore. I just want you to be free. McKenna's breath caught. She wanted to believe him. But trust didn't come easy. Not after this. The timer flashed. 07:58. McKenna looked at it, then at Adrian. If I let you stay, she said, what happens next? Adrian's voice was soft. Whatever you decide. And if I tell you to leave? Then I leave. And never come back? Adrian's jaw clenched. If that's what you want. McKenna studied his face, his eyes, his hands. He wasn't lying. For the first time since she walked through that door, he wasn't lying. I don't owe you forgiveness, she said. Adrian nodded. I know. I don't owe you anything. I know. McKenna stepped closer. Close enough to choose it. But I need you to understand something, she said. Adrian waited. McKenna's voice was steady now, strong. You don't own what chooses you. Adrian's eyes widened slightly. Say it back, McKenna said. Adrian swallowed. I don't own what chooses me. Again. I don't own what chooses me. McKenna nodded. Good. She turned to the lockbox. The timer was still counting. 0007 to 12. She pressed the red switch, halfway. The timer froze. 0007, 12. Adrian's breath stopped. What did you do? I paused it, McKenna said. Not released, not erased, just paused. Celeste exhaled. You're holding it again. McKenna nodded. Yes. Adrian's voice was tight. For how long? McKenna looked at him. As long as it takes. For what? McKenna's eyes were clear now, calm. For you to prove this wasn't a performance. Adrian's hands shook. How do I do that? McKenna turned toward the door. By not following me. Adrian froze. What? McKenna walked to the door, her hand on the handle. She looked back at him. If you follow me, she said, the timer restarts, and I won't stop it. Adrian's face went pale. McKenna, don't, she said. Her voice was firm. This is the test. She opened the door, stepped into the hallway, and waited. Behind her, Adrian stood in the doorway, his hands at his sides, not reaching, not moving, just watching. McKenna's chest tightened. She wanted him to follow, to prove he couldn't let go, but he didn't. He just stood there, and the timer stayed frozen. 007, 12. McKenna turned away and walked down the hall. Behind her, Adrian whispered, I'll keep the promise. McKenna stopped, didn't turn around. Every day? She asked. Adrian's voice was steady. Yes. McKenna nodded once and kept walking. The elevator doors opened before she pressed the button. She stepped inside. The doors began to close. At the last second, she looked back. Adrian was still standing in the doorway, not moving, not following, just letting her go. And somehow, that hurt more than anything. The elevator descended in silence. McKenna's reflection stared back at her from the polished steel walls. Her hands were still shaking. She looked down at them, tried to steady them, but they wouldn't stop. The elevator slowed, then stopped, but not at the ground floor, at a floor in between. McKenna frowned. She hadn't pressed a button. The doors slid open. Celeste stood there. Get out, Celeste said. McKenna's heart jumped. What? Get out of the elevator, Celeste said. Now. McKenna stepped out. The doors closed behind her. They were in a maintenance hallway, bare walls, concrete floor. Why are we here? McKenna asked. Celeste handed her the lockbox. Because you need to make the real choice. McKenna looked down at it. The timer was still frozen. 007, 12. I already chose, McKenna said. No, Celeste said. You paused. That's not the same as choosing. McKenna's chest tightened. What do you want me to do? Celeste's voice was soft. Finish it. McKenna stared at the lockbox, at the red switch. If I press it all the way, she said slowly, what happens? The timer stops, Celeste said. The files stay private. Adrian walks free. McKenna's throat burned. And if I don't? The timer restarts, Celeste said. And when it hits 0, everything goes public. McKenna's hands shook. So, I have to choose right now? Celeste nodded. Yes. Walking away takes more strength than staying ever will, because staying is familiar, even when it hurts. But walking away? That's choosing yourself. And some people will never understand why that matters. McKenna looked at the switch. Her thumb hovered over it. What would you do? She asked. Celeste's eyes softened. It doesn't matter what I would do. Yes, it does, Celeste sighed. I'd choose myself. McKenna's breath caught. What? I'd choose myself, Celeste said again, because no one else will. McKenna's eyes stung. She looked at the switch. Then she pressed it. All the way down. The timer stopped. 007, 12. Permanently. A message appeared on the small screen. Failsafe deactivated. Files secured. McKenna stared at it. She'd done it. She'd stopped the timer. She'd saved Adrian. But she didn't feel relief. She felt empty. Celeste's voice was gentle. You chose mercy. Makina shook her head. No, I chose time. What does that mean? Makina looked up. It means I'm not done with him yet. Celeste frowned. What? Makina handed the lockbox back to Celeste. Keep this. If he crosses the line again, I want you to release the files yourself. Celeste's eyes widened. Makina, promise me, Makina said. Celeste hesitated, then nodded. I promise. Makina turned toward the elevator. Celeste's voice stopped her. Where are you going? Away, Makina said, before I change my mind. She pressed the button. The elevator doors opened. She stepped inside. The doors began to close. Celeste called out, Makina, wait. Makina looked up. You didn't save him, Celeste said. You saved yourself. Makina's throat tightened. The doors closed. The elevator descended. When it reached the ground floor, Makina stepped out. The lobby was empty. Quiet. She walked through the revolving door. Outside, the night air hit her lungs. Cold, sharp, real. She breathed in slowly, then out. For the first time in hours, she could breathe. Her phone buzzed. She pulled it out. Unknown number. You chose mercy. But did he deserve it? Makina stared at the message. She didn't know the answer. She typed back. I didn't do it for him. The reply came fast. Then who? Makina's fingers trembled as she typed. For me. So I could walk away, knowing I was better than him. The reply took longer this time. That's the only choice that matters. Makina looked up at Vale Tower. The lights were still on. Somewhere up there, Adrian was standing in that room, realizing she'd walked away, realizing she'd chosen herself. Her phone buzzed again, but this time it wasn't the unknown number. It was Celeste. He's asking for you? Makina's heart jumped. She typed back. Tell him no. Celeste's reply was immediate. Are you sure? Makina looked at the tower one more time, then at her phone. She typed slowly, carefully. Yes, I'm choosing time, and he needs to learn to live without me. She hit send. Then she turned away from the tower and started walking. Behind her, the lights on the top floor went dark, one by one, like Adrian was letting her go. Makina's chest tightened. She wanted to look back, to see if he was watching, but she didn't. She just kept walking, because looking back meant she hadn't really chosen herself. And tonight, for the first time in her life, she had. Her phone buzzed one last time. Unknown number. The timer may be stopped, but the story isn't over. Makina stopped walking. She stared at the message. What does that mean? The reply came fast. It means he's not the only one who's been watching you. Makina's blood went cold. She spun around. The street was empty. No one was there, but she felt it. Eyes on her. Somewhere. Her phone buzzed again. Turn around, keep walking, don't look back. Makina's hands shook. She wanted to run, but her legs wouldn't move. Then a voice came from behind her. Low, familiar. Makina. She froze. That wasn't Adrian's voice. It was someone else, someone she'd heard before. But where? She turned slowly. A man stood there, tall, dark suit, face half hidden in shadow. Who are you? Makina whispered. The man stepped into the light, and Makina's world stopped, because she recognized him, from the fire, from the hospital, from 10 years ago. My name is Marcus Vale, the man said. Makina's breath caught. Vale? The man nodded. Adrian's brother. Makina's heart pounded. He doesn't have a brother. Marcus smiled. Cold. That's what he wants you to believe. Makina stared at Marcus Vale. Her mind raced. Adrian doesn't have a brother, she said again. Marcus's smile didn't reach his eyes. He erased me, just like he erased you. Makina's stomach twisted. Why? Because I knew the truth, Marcus said. About the fire, about what really happened that night. McKenna's breath caught. What truth? Marcus stepped closer. The fire wasn't an accident. McKenna's legs felt weak. What? Someone said it, Marcus said. On purpose. McKenna shook her head. No. The news said what my father paid them to say. Marcus interrupted. McKenna's heart pounded. Your father? Marcus nodded. Richard Vale, Adrian's father, the man who started the fire to cover up his crimes. McKenna's vision blurred. That's not possible. It is, Marcus said, and Adrian knows. McKenna stepped back. You're lying. Am I? Marcus pulled out his phone, showed her the screen. It was a photo. Old, grainy, a man standing outside the Rivergate building, holding a gas can. McKenna's blood went cold. Who is that? She whispered. Richard Vale, Marcus said. The night of the fire. McKenna's hand shook. Adrian said his father died that night. He did, Marcus said. After he set the fire, he went back inside to destroy evidence, but he didn't make it out. McKenna's throat closed. And Adrian knew? Marcus's eyes darkened. He found out 2 years later, and instead of telling the truth, he buried it. McKenna's chest felt tight. Why are you telling me this? Marcus's voice was cold. Because you deserve to know who you really saved tonight. McKenna's phone buzzed. She looked down. Unknown number. Don't trust him. McKenna's heart jumped. She looked up at Marcus. Who are you? Really? Marcus's smile faded. I told you. Adrian's brother. Prove it. Marcus reached into his jacket. McKenna stepped back. Don't. Marcus pulled out a wallet, opened it, showed her an old ID. Marcus Vale. Date of birth, 1985. McKenna stared at it. It looked real. But something felt wrong. Why did Adrian erase you? She asked. Marcus's jaw tightened. Because I tried to stop him. Stop him from what? From becoming our father. McKenna's stomach twisted. Her phone buzzed. Again. He's lying. Get away from him. McKenna looked at Marcus. I need to go. Marcus stepped in front of her. Wait. Move. Not until you listen, Marcus said. Adrian isn't who you think he is. McKenna's voice was sharp. I know exactly who he is. Do you? Marcus's eyes were hard now. Because the man you just saved, he's been planning this for 10 years. McKenna's breath stopped. Planning what? To bring you back, Marcus said. Not to save you. To own you. McKenna shook her head. No. Yes, Marcus said. The fire, the trust, the new identity. All of it was to make you dependent on him. McKenna's chest ached. You're wrong. Am I? Marcus stepped closer. Then why did he wait 10 years? Why bring you back now? McKenna didn't have an answer. Marcus's voice dropped. Because he needed you. His company is failing. His reputation is crumbling. And you? You're the perfect story. The girl he saved. The redemption arc. McKenna's hands clenched. I don't believe you. You don't have to, Marcus said, but ask yourself this. Why did the unknown number warn you? Why did the timer exist? Why did any of this happen? McKenna's throat burned. Because she didn't know. Some doors closed to save you, not because you failed, not because you weren't strong enough, but because staying would have cost you the only thing you had left, yourself. Her phone buzzed. Get in a cab. Now. I'll send the address. McKenna looked at Marcus. I'm leaving. Marcus didn't move. You can't run from this. Watch me. McKenna walked past him. Marcus called after her. He'll come for you, and when he does, you'll wish you'd listened. McKenna didn't turn around. She kept walking. A cab pulled up, like it had been waiting. She got in. Where to? The driver asked. McKenna's phone buzzed. An address appeared on the screen. She showed it to the driver. Here. The driver nodded. The cab pulled away. McKenna looked back. Marcus was still standing there. Watching. Then her phone buzzed again. Unknown number. You didn't fail. You chose yourself. That's the only choice that matters. McKenna's eyes filled. She wiped them quickly. The cab drove through the city. Quiet streets, empty sidewalks. McKenna stared out the window, thinking about Adrian, about Marcus, about everything. Then the cab stopped. "We're here," the driver said. McKenna looked up. They were in front of a small apartment building. Old. Quiet. "This is it?" she asked. The driver nodded. McKenna paid. Got out. The cab drove away. She stood on the sidewalk, staring at the building. Her phone buzzed. 3rd floor. Apartment 7. The door is open. McKenna's heart pounded. She walked inside. The hallway was dim, narrow. She climbed the stairs, reached the 3rd floor. Apartment 7 was at the end of the hall. The door was cracked open. McKenna pushed it. It swung open slowly. Inside, the apartment was small, clean, empty, except for one thing. A woman sat in a chair by the window, back to the door. "Hello, McKenna," the woman said. McKenna's breath stopped. That voice. She knew that voice. The woman turned around, and McKenna's world shattered. Because sitting in that chair was the woman from the hospital photo. The woman who'd refused custody. The woman who'd given her up. "Hello, baby," the woman said softly. McKenna's legs buckled. "Mom?" Back at Vale Tower, Adrian stood alone in the hidden room. The screen was black. The lockbox sat on the desk. Empty now. Celeste walked in. Her face was tight. "She's gone," Celeste said. Adrian nodded. He didn't look surprised. "Did she say anything?" he asked. Celeste shook her head. "Just that she was choosing herself." Adrian's jaw clenched. "Good." Celeste frowned. "Good?" "Yes," Adrian said. "That's what she was supposed to do." Celeste studied him. "You knew she'd leave?" "I hoped she would." Celeste's voice was soft. "Then why does it look like you're breaking?" Adrian didn't answer. He just stared at the empty lockbox. Then the screen flickered. Both of them turned. A message appeared. "Failsafe override detected." Adrian's eyes widened. "What?" The screen changed. Timer restarted. 04:10. Adrian's blood went cold. "No, she stopped it. Someone overrode it," Celeste said. The timer started counting down. 04:09. 04:08. Adrian's hands shook. "Who has access?" Celeste's face went pale. "Only one person." "Who?" Celeste's voice was barely a whisper. "Your brother." Adrian froze. "Marcus is dead." "Is he?" Adrian turned to her. "He died in the fire with my father." Celeste shook her head. "No, he didn't." Adrian's chest tightened. "What are you talking about?" Celeste pulled out her phone, showed him a photo. A man, tall, dark suit, standing outside Vale Tower, tonight. "That's Marcus," Celeste said. Adrian stared at the photo. His face went white. "That's impossible." "It's not," Celeste said. "He's been alive this whole time, and he's been sending the messages." Adrian's throat closed. "To McKenna?" Celeste nodded. "Yes." The timer kept ticking. 03:42. Adrian's phone buzzed. He looked at it. A message from an unknown number. "You thought you could erase me. But some ghosts don't stay buried." Adrian's hands clenched. "Marcus," he typed back. "What do you want?" The reply was instant. "Justice, for what you did." Adrian's jaw tightened. "I didn't do anything. You buried the truth. You let our father's crimes die with him, and you built an empire on his blood." Adrian's chest ached. Because it was true. He had buried it. He had let the world think his father was a hero, when he was a monster. The timer flashed. 03. Celeste's voice was urgent. "Adrian, we need to stop this." Adrian shook his head. "No." "What?" Adrian looked at her. His eyes were clear now, calm. "Let it go," he said. Celeste's eyes widened. "You can't be serious." "I am. This will destroy you." Adrian nodded. "I know. Then why? Adrian's voice was steady. Because if power hides truth, it rots. Celeste stared at him. The timer kept counting. Saru, Sots, 8. Are you sure? Celeste asked. Adrian nodded. Yes. Celeste exhaled. What do I tell the board? The truth, Adrian said. They'll want your head. Let them have it. The timer hit 1 minute. Sparrow 1. Celeste's phone buzzed. She looked at it. Her face went pale. What? Adrian asked. The press, Celeste said. They're already asking questions. Adrian nodded. Good. Good? Yes, Adrian said. Let them ask. The timer kept ticking. Suradrotus 30. Celeste stepped back. This is really happening. Adrian didn't move. Yes. 0, 0, 15. Adrian closed his eyes, thought about McKenna, about the fire, about everything. 0, 0, 0, 10. He thought about the man he used to be, and the man he'd become. 0, 0, 0, 0, 5, and he made peace with it. 0, 0, 4, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 2, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 0. The screen flashed, files uploading, delivery in progress. Adrian opened his eyes. Celeste watched the screen. It's done. Adrian nodded. I know. A message appeared. Files delivered to trustee. Public release initiated. Celeste's phone exploded with notifications. She looked at Adrian. This will hurt. Adrian's voice was quiet. It should. He walked to the window, looked down at the city. Somewhere down there, McKenna was free, and for the first time in 10 years, so was he. His phone buzzed. A message from the trustee. Records received. Investigation opened. Then another. Media inquiries. 47. Then another. Board meeting called. Emergency session. Celeste stood beside him. What will you do now? Adrian didn't hesitate. Change. Celeste tilted her head. That's not a plan. It's a practice, Adrian said. Celeste studied him. You really let her go? Adrian nodded. Yes. Why? Adrian's voice was soft. Because she never belonged to me. Celeste's phone buzzed again. She looked at it. Her eyes widened. What? Adrian asked. Celeste showed him the screen, a news headline. Vale Empire under investigation. Billionaire's dark past exposed. Below it was a photo of the Rivergate fire, and a name Adrian hadn't seen in 10 years. Richard Vale. Suspected arsonist. Adrian's breath stopped. It's out, Celeste whispered. Adrian nodded. Good. Good? Celeste's voice rose. This will destroy everything you built. I know, Adrian said. That's the point. Celeste stared at him. Who are you? Adrian looked at her. Someone who's finally telling the truth. His phone buzzed one last time. A message from Marcus. You thought letting the files release would save you. But it won't. Because I'm not done yet. Adrian's stomach dropped. He typed back, What do you want? The reply made his blood run cold. I want her. And if you don't bring her to me, I'll tell her the one truth you've been hiding. Adrian's hands shook. What truth? Marcus's reply was simple. Final. That the fire wasn't about our father. It was about her mother, and you knew. Adrian's phone slipped from his hands. Celeste caught it, read the message. Her face went white. Adrian, she whispered, is that true? Adrian didn't answer. He just stared out the window, at the city, at the darkness, and wondered if McKenna would ever forgive him for the one lie he never told her. McKenna stared at the woman in the chair, her mother, the woman who'd given her up, the woman who'd said no when the hospital called. You're alive, McKenna whispered. Her mother nodded. Yes. McKenna's legs felt like they'd give out. How? Sit down, her mother said gently. Please. McKenna didn't move. Answer me first. Her mother's eyes filled. I never stopped looking for you. McKenna's throat burned. The hospital said you refused custody. I didn't refuse, her mother said. I was refused. McKenna frowned. What? Her mother stood slowly. After the fire, I went to the hospital. I told them I was your mother, but they said you'd already been placed. McKenna's chest tightened. Placed where? With a guardian, her mother said. Someone who'd paid for everything. Someone powerful. McKenna's stomach dropped. Adrian. Her mother nodded. Yes. McKenna stepped back. He told me you didn't want me. Her mother's face crumpled. That's a lie. Then why didn't you fight for me? Her mother's voice broke. I tried, but they said if I pushed, I'd never see you again. They said you were safe, that you'd have a better life. McKenna's hands shook. So you just gave up? No, her mother said. I spent 10 years trying to find you. But your records were erased. Your name was changed. You disappeared. McKenna's eyes stung. And now? Her mother stepped closer. Now someone told me where you were. McKenna's heart jumped. Who? Her mother hesitated. A man named Marcus. McKenna's blood went cold. Marcus Vale? Her mother nodded. He said you needed to know the truth. McKenna backed toward the door. I need to go. Wait, her mother said. Please. No, McKenna said. This is a trap. It's not, her mother said. I'm your mother. I've been waiting 10 years to see you. McKenna's throat closed. She wanted to believe her. But after tonight, she didn't know what to believe anymore. She turned and ran. Down the stairs, out the door, into the street. The night air hit her lungs, cold, sharp. She bent over, hands on her knees, breathed in. 1, 2, 3. Breathing freely shouldn't feel this rare. But when you've spent your whole life holding your breath, waiting for the next blow, every inhale feels like a gift you don't deserve. She straightened slowly. A memory surfaced, gentle this time. Not fire, not smoke, just a voice. Breathe. Stay with me. Adrian's voice, from 10 years ago. She closed her eyes, and for the first time she let herself remember, not just the pain, but the hands that lifted her, the voice that told her she'd be okay. The boy who carried her out. Her phone buzzed. She pulled it out. Unknown number. He kept his word. McKenna stared at the message. How do you know? The reply came fast. Because he didn't come after you. McKenna's chest tightened. She looked back at Vale Tower. The lights on the top floor were still on. But he wasn't coming. He'd kept his promise. Her phone buzzed again. This time it was Celeste. If you want your records restored to you, call me. No conditions. McKenna's eyes filled. She typed back. Tomorrow. She slipped the phone away. A black car slowed beside her. McKenna tensed. The window rolled down. A driver looked at her. You need a ride? McKenna shook her head. No. The driver nodded. Stay safe. The car drove away. McKenna exhaled. For the first time in hours she felt it. Not healed, not whole, but breathing. She started walking. No destination. Just forward. A cafe window reflected her face. Tired, steady, real. She stopped, looked at herself, and for the first time she saw someone she recognized. Not the girl from the fire, not the maid in the penthouse, just McKenna. Her phone buzzed one more time. Unknown number. You chose yourself. That's the hardest choice, and the only one that matters. McKenna's throat tightened. She typed back, Who are you? The reply took longer this time. Someone who wishes they'd made the same choice. McKenna stared at the message. Then the number disappeared. No contact, no trace, like it had never existed. McKenna looked up at the sky. The stars were barely visible through the city lights, but they were there. She took another breath. In, out, and for the first time in her life, it felt like enough. She kept walking, past the tower, past the memories, past the pain, toward something she couldn't see yet, but something she chose. Behind her, a figure watched from the shadows. Tall, dark suit. Marcus Vale. He pulled out his phone, typed a message. She's stronger than you thought. This won't be easy. He hit send. then disappeared into the night. McKenna didn't see him. She just kept walking, one foot in front of the other, free, but not safe, because somewhere in the city, Adrian sat alone in his office, staring at a message from Marcus. "You have 24 hours to tell her the truth, or I will." Adrian's hands shook. He looked out the window, at the city, at the lights, and wondered if McKenna would ever forgive him for the one secret he'd kept, the one that would destroy everything. He typed back, "What truth?" Marcus's reply was instant, that her mother didn't abandon her. You paid her to disappear, and when she refused, you threatened her. Adrian's stomach dropped. That's not true, isn't it? Check your father's files, the ones you thought you destroyed. Adrian stood, walked to the safe in the wall, opened it. Inside was a folder he hadn't touched in 10 years. He pulled it out, opened it, and his world collapsed, because inside were documents, signed by his father, payments to McKenna's mother, threats, orders to stay away, and at the bottom, a note in his father's handwriting. "If she comes back, eliminate her." Adrian's hands trembled. He'd known his father was a monster, but he didn't know it went this far. His phone buzzed. Marcus again. "Now you know. Tell her, or I will." Adrian looked at the folder, then at the city, and made a choice. He grabbed his coat and ran. Morning light filled the penthouse. Adrian stood in the kitchen, coffee cold in his hands. He hadn't slept, hadn't moved from the window most of the night, just staring at the city, thinking about McKenna, about his father, about the folder in the safe. Celeste entered. Her face was tight. "The board is panicking," she said. Adrian didn't look at her. "Good. They want statements." "Tell the truth," Adrian said. Celeste stopped. "What?" Adrian turned to her. His eyes were bloodshot, exhausted, but clear. "Tell the truth," he said again. "About my father, about the fire, about everything." Celeste's eyes widened. "Adrian, that will destroy the company." "I know. Your reputation doesn't matter anymore," Adrian said. Celeste stared at him. "Who are you?" Adrian's voice was quiet. "Someone who's finally done lying." Celeste's phone buzzed. She looked at it. "The press is asking about Rivergate." "Good," Adrian said. "Schedule a press conference." Celeste's jaw dropped. "You can't be serious." "I am," Adrian said. "Today. Noon. I'll tell them everything." Celeste shook her head. "The board will remove you." "Let them." "Adrian." "Celeste," Adrian said. His voice was firm. "I'm done protecting a legacy built on lies." Celeste exhaled. "What about McKenna?" Adrian's jaw tightened. "What about her? Are you going to tell her? About your father? About her mother?" Adrian looked at the floor. "If she asks, and if she doesn't?" Adrian's voice cracked. "Then I live with it." Celeste studied him. "You really let her go?" Adrian nodded. "Yes." "Why?" "Because she deserves better than me." Celeste's voice was soft. "That's not for you to decide." Adrian looked up. "What?" "Whether she deserves better," Celeste said. "That's her choice, not yours." Adrian swallowed. "I know." Celeste's phone buzzed again. "The board wants an emergency meeting." 1 hour. Adrian nodded. "Tell them I'll be there." Celeste hesitated. "What are you going to say?" Adrian walked to the window, looked down at the city. "The truth," he said, "and I'm dissolving the private agencies." Celeste's eyes widened. "What?" "The ones that erased McKenna's records," Adrian said. "The ones my father used to hide his crimes. I'm shutting them down." Celeste's voice was tight. "That's billions of dollars." "I don't care." "Adrian, it's blood money," Adrian said, "and I won't profit from it anymore." Celeste stared at him, then nodded slowly. Okay. "Yes," Celeste said. "I'll set it up." Adrian's phone buzzed. He looked at it. His heart stopped. It was a message from McKenna. Did you mean it? Adrian's hands shook. He typed back slowly. Every day. He waited. 1 minute, 2. Then McKenna replied, prove it. Adrian's chest tightened. He typed back, how? McKenna's reply was simple. By not looking for me. By letting me come to you. When I'm ready. Adrian's throat burned. He typed, okay. McKenna didn't reply. Adrian stared at the screen, then set the phone down. Celeste watched him. What did she say? Adrian's voice was quiet. She said to prove it. And? I will. Celeste's phone buzzed. The board is ready. Adrian nodded. Let's go. They walked to the conference room. Inside, 12 people sat at a long table. All of them looked angry. Adrian sat at the head. Thank you for coming. One man spoke. We're not here to thank you. We're here to remove you. Adrian nodded. I understand. The man frowned. You're not going to fight? No, Adrian said. Because you're right. The room went silent. Another woman spoke. What are you saying? Adrian stood. I'm saying my father was a criminal, and I protected him. I buried the truth, and I built this company on his lies. The room erupted. Voices overlapping, angry, shocked. Adrian raised his hand. I'm resigning, effective immediately. The room went quiet. The first man stood. You can't just resign. I can, Adrian said, and I am. What about the company? Appoint someone else, Adrian said. Someone who deserves it. He turned to Celeste. Draft the papers. Celeste nodded. Adrian walked toward the door. One woman called after him. Where are you going? Adrian stopped, looked back. To fund the Rivergate Memorial, he said. Public. No branding, no conditions. The room was silent. Adrian left. Outside, he stood in the hallway, alone. For the first time in 10 years, he felt light. His phone buzzed. He looked at it. A message from Celeste. The press conference is set. Noon. Are you ready? Adrian typed back. Yes. Then another message came. From McKenna. I'm not ready to see you yet, but I'm watching. Adrian's eyes filled. He typed back. I'll be worth watching. I promise. McKenna didn't reply. Adrian put the phone away and walked toward the elevator. Behind him, Celeste stood in the conference room doorway, watching him go. He's really doing it, she whispered. One of the board members approached. He's destroying everything. Celeste shook her head. No, he's finally building something real. The board member frowned. What? Celeste's voice was soft. Trust. Meanwhile, McKenna sat in a small cafe, watching the news on her phone. Breaking. Vale CEO to make statement on Rivergate fire. Her chest tightened. She wanted to turn it off, but she couldn't. She had to see, had to know if he meant it. The screen changed. Adrian appeared, standing at a podium, press everywhere, cameras flashing. My name is Adrian Vale, he said, and I'm here to tell you the truth. McKenna's breath stopped. 10 years ago, Adrian continued, my father set the Rivergate fire. The room erupted. McKenna's hand shook. Adrian kept talking. He did it to cover up his crimes, and I've spent 10 years protecting his legacy. McKenna's eyes filled. But I'm done, Adrian said. Today, I'm resigning. I'm funding the memorial, and I'm releasing all records. The press shouted questions. Adrian raised his hand. I'm also here to say something to someone who's watching. McKenna's heart stopped. Adrian looked straight at the camera. I'm sorry, he said, for everything, and I'll spend the rest of my life proving I meant it. The screen went black. McKenna sat there, tears streaming down her face. Her phone buzzed. Marcus, he just made himself a target, and so did you. McKenna's blood went cold. She looked up. A man stood outside the cafe, watching her. Tall, dark suit. Marcus. He smiled, then disappeared into the crowd. McKenna's phone buzzed again. Run. McKenna ran. Out of the cafe, down the street, heart pounding. She didn't know where she was going, just away. Her phone buzzed. Stop running. He can't hurt you. McKenna slowed, looked at the message. Who are you? No reply. She kept walking, faster now. The sun was setting. Dusk painted the city orange and gold. She turned a corner and stopped. Vale Tower stood in front of her, tall, glass, glowing in the fading light. She hadn't meant to come here, but her feet had brought her anyway. McKenna stood on the sidewalk, staring up. Her phone buzzed. Celeste. Records are ready. Your name, your past, yours again. McKenna's eyes filled. She typed back. Thank you, Celeste replied. You earned it. McKenna slipped the phone away. She looked at the tower again. Through the glass she could see movement. A man, alone, moving chairs, turning off lights. Adrian. He wasn't on a call, wasn't surrounded by people, just alone, cleaning up, like he was closing a chapter. McKenna's chest tightened. She wanted to go in, to see him, to ask him if he meant it, but she didn't, because she didn't need to. She'd already seen the answer. Her phone buzzed one last time. Unknown number. This is what choice looks like. McKenna stared at the message. She typed back. Who are you? Really? The reply took a moment. Someone who wished they'd chosen themselves sooner. Someone who wants you to know. Not all endings need happy, just honest. McKenna's throat burned. She looked at the message again, then at the tower. Not all endings need happy, just honest. Some stories don't get wrapped up neatly. They leave you raw, confused, stronger, and maybe that's the point. Maybe the stories that hurt are the ones that matter most. She remembered the line that started it all. I will make you mine tonight. She shook her head softly. Tonight, no one owned anyone. Tonight, she chose herself. McKenna turned away from the building and walked into the crowd. People everywhere, moving, living, breathing. She blended in, free, named, whole. Behind her, the tower lights went dark, one floor at a time, like Adrian was letting go. McKenna didn't look back. She just kept walking, past the memories, past the pain, past the fear, toward something she couldn't see yet, but something she chose. Her phone buzzed, a final message. Unknown number. Redemption stays alive only because it was never forced. Then the number disappeared. For good this time. McKenna stopped walking. She looked at the sky. The stars were barely visible through the city lights, but they were there. She took a breath. In. Out. And smiled. Not because everything was okay, but because she was. Behind her, in Vale Tower, Adrian stood at the window. Watching the street below, he saw her, just for a second. Walking away. Free. His chest ached, but he didn't move. He just watched. And let her go. Celeste stood beside him. She's gone. Adrian nodded. I know. Are you okay? Adrian's voice was quiet. No, but I will be. Celeste studied him. What now? Adrian turned away from the window. Now I prove I meant it. How? Adrian looked at her. By living like she's watching, every day. Celeste nodded. That's a long game. Adrian's voice was steady. That's the only game worth playing. He walked toward the elevator. Celeste called after him. Where are you going? To the memorial, Adrian said, to start making amends. The elevator doors closed. Celeste stood alone in the empty office. She looked out the window, at the city, at the lights, and whispered, Good luck. Meanwhile, McKenna reached a park. Quiet, empty. She sat on a bench, pulled out her phone, opened her contacts. Her mother's number was there now. Celeste had restored it. McKenna stared at it, then typed a message. I'm not ready to see you yet, but I want to be. Someday. She hit send. A reply came almost immediately. Take all the time you need. I'll be here. McKenna's eyes filled. She put the phone away, looked up at the sky, and for the first time in 10 years she felt it. Hope. Not the kind that promised everything would be okay, but the kind that promised she could survive if it wasn't. She stood and walked into the night, free, named, chosen, and somewhere behind her, Marcus Vale watched from the shadows. He pulled out his phone, typed a message to someone. She's stronger than we thought. Phase 2 begins now. He hit send, then disappeared. McKenna didn't see him. She didn't see the figure following her. She didn't see the car that had been trailing her all night. She just kept walking, believing she was free. But freedom is never that simple. And some stories don't end. They just pause, waiting for the next chapter, for the next choice, for the moment when everything changes again. And as McKenna walked into the crowd, disappearing into the sea of people, one thing was certain. This wasn't over. Not for her. Not for Adrian. Not for Marcus. Because redemption isn't a destination. It's a practice. And some debts take a lifetime to repay. The screen fades to black. But the story? The story is just beginning. The end. For now. If this story moved you, even just a little, share it. Because some stories deserve to be felt, not just watched. And maybe someone out there needs to hear that choosing yourself isn't selfish, it's survival.